HBO has just confirmed something that completely changes everything you think about Welcome to Derry. Season 2 will not continue the story where we left off. Instead, it goes back in time, to the year 1935, to the most brutal massacre in the history of the town. And what almost no one realizes is that this event doesn't just connect Pennywise, it connects at least 5 different works across the Kingverse. 1935 isn't just the past, it's the center of everything. If you think this is just another random Pennywise cycle, let me stop you right there. It's not. 1935 is the year Derry breaks from the inside. It's when something tears in the fabric of reality itself. And today, I'm going to show you why HBO chose this exact moment in time, and what they're not telling you about Stephen King's Macroverse and the forces moving behind this massacre. Before we dive into 1935, we need to quickly align on what we already know. Season 1 of Welcome to Derry ended by exploring the 1962 cycle, one of the most violent periods in the town's history. The creators have already confirmed a 3-season plan, each focused on a major historical disaster. That's not coincidence. Each event marks a moment of extreme feeding for the entity. The structure is clear. Season 1 in 1962, Season 2 in 1935, the Bradley Gang Massacre, Season 3 in 1908, the Kitchener Ironworks explosion. But here's the detail almost no one is talking about. 1935 isn't just another 27-year cycle. It's a convergence point, a knot where multiple Kingverse timelines collide at once. In the novel IT, Stephen King dedicates several pages to the 1935 massacre. Claude Hero and his gang storm the Silver Dollar Bar in Derry. Claude enters wielding an axe. In just minutes, 9 people are brutally murdered, some of them decapitated. Blood runs through the streets, people watch. And the most disturbing part is that no one intervenes. Derry witnesses the horror in silence. This wasn't just a burst of human violence. There's something far deeper here. Pennywise was present, not necessarily visible, but there. It feeds on fear, hatred, and collective chaos. The greater the brutality, the stronger the entity becomes. The Bradley Gang Massacre wasn't random. It was a feast, an unintentional ritual of feeding on a massive scale. This is where the connections begin. The first one ties directly to IT. Beverly Marsh mentions that her father lived in Derry during what she calls the bad times. That phrase points straight to the 1930s. The series may show the Marsh family arriving in town shortly after the massacre, already stepping into a place poisoned by fear and the silent influence of the entity. Now we reach a connection that changes everything. Dick Hallorann from The Shining was born in 1899. In 1935, he would have been 36 years old. In IT itself, Stephen King strongly implies that Dick passed through Derry during this period. Imagine a man with The Shining walking through a town where reality itself is slowly tearing apart. That would explain a lot about Dick Hallorann. Derry doesn't just kill, it awakens. It amplifies psychic abilities. A young Dick witnessing the 1935 massacre could have been the trigger that strengthened his shining. It's no coincidence that so many sensitives in King's universe pass through Derry and leave forever changed, traumatized, or broken. But the influence of 1935 goes even further. Derry is described as a weak point between worlds, a Todash portal. During moments of extreme violence, the barriers between realities grow thin. During the massacre, something crossed over, something drew closer. And this directly links Derry to the mythology of the Dark Tower and the weakening of the Macroverse itself. In Stephen King's universe, mass violence isn't just human tragedy. It feeds cosmic forces. The Crimson King thrives on the collapse of order. Every massacre, every explosion, every traumatic event in Derry weakens the guardians of the tower. The year 1935 may have been one of the deepest blows reality has ever suffered. In Insomnia, set in Derry during the 1990s, the town still carries ancient scars. The novel references events from the 1930s as foundational to the city's spiritual decay. The little bald doctors, entities responsible for cutting the threads of life, were active during that time, watching, interfering. adjusting fate during and after the 1935 massacre. In 11/22/63, Jake Epping passes through Derry in 1958 and immediately senses that something is wrong. A rot in the air, an invisible pressure. That corruption didn't begin in 1958. It was already there. The 1935 massacre accelerated the city's spiritual decay, creating a place where evil accumulates, recycles itself, and never truly leaves. Now look at the Macroverse context. 1935 was a year of global suffering, the Great Depression, collective fear, collapsing hope. In King's universe, large-scale human pain weakens the fabric of reality. Pennywise doesn't choose dates at random. It feeds when the world is vulnerable, and 1935 was the perfect moment. The massacre was only the visible part of the problem. Beneath the surface, Derry was becoming an anchor point for the Todash space. A place where the prim, the chaos that existed before creation, could touch our world. Pennywise didn't create this fracture alone. It simply learned how to exploit it as the city rotted. This is what Season 2 can finally reveal. Not just physical horror, but cosmic horror. How a single violent event can tear reality open and allow ancient, forgotten, and hungry forces to gain influence over our plane of existence. Derry isn't just a setting. It's an open wound in the Macroverse. Season 2 will feature a completely new cast but not insignificant characters. We're talking about ancestors, family names, people who planted seeds of trauma that would only bloom decades later. In Derry, evil doesn't disappear. It's inherited, passed down through generations like a silent curse that never fully breaks. If HBO is truly smart, Dick Hallorann won't be just a brief cameo. He could be the emotional axis of the season. A man who feels too much, who sees things he was never meant to see, trapped in a town that is spiritually dying. A perfect lens for understanding the psychological and supernatural impact of 1935. Season 2 also has the chance to explore something the films barely touched, the origins of the Ritual of Chüd. Perhaps someone in 1935 attempted to confront Pennywise on a mental or spiritual level, and failed. That failure may have shaped everything that came later, including the rules of the confrontation seen decades afterward. That would help explain why the 27-year cycle stabilizes, why Pennywise enters hibernation between feeding periods. Something was done in 1935. Something incomplete. Something that didn't defeat IT, but wounded it enough to force retreat and waiting. Evil learns, and it adapts. 1935 isn't just a historical year. It's the point where IT, The Shining, The Dark Tower, Insomnia, and 11/22/63 all intersect. It's when Derry becomes irreversibly corrupted, a place where past, present, and future contaminate one another. HBO is about to show us how that transformation truly began. When Welcome to Derry Season 2 arrives, it won't be just more Pennywise, it will be a full dissection of the Kingverse. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and tell me in the comments. Do you think we'll see Dick Hallorann in 1935? In Derry, the past never dies. It only waits to return.